Hey. What's going on, everybody? It's your girl, Lake B, and I am here with Stream the Talk Show. What's up? Yay. Clap for me. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Now, today we have a very, very special show. I have fallen in love with this particular movie. I cannot tell you guys how much Mirror of Deception has made me want to change lives. But before we get into the movie itself, we are sitting down with the director, writer, and filmmaker of this amazing film, and I'm gonna let him introduce himself, so I won't embarrass myself. How are you doing, sir?
What up, doe? What up, doe?
What up, doe?
Timashion Jones.
Timashion Jones.
Yeah.
Now, do we get the opportunity to talk about where that name came from?
I think that requires like some lunch or something. It's a long story, you know what I'm saying? So we'll keep it at that. But I'm not the first Timashion, nor am I the last. And every time I try to log onto some new social media, some of these young Timashions always beat me to the punch. But I am
like, this name is already taken.
TV, which stands for the Visionaire. So Timashion TV, you know, that's how I kind of like got to distinguish myself. So.
Okay, the Visionaire part.
Yeah,
can we get into that?
Yeah, the Visionaire came from Dr. Miles Monroe. I was reading one of his books, and I was inspired. I felt I was a visionary, and then when I finally met him, I talked to him about it, and he gave me that name. So yeah. I
love that. I mean, everybody needs the opportunity to be able to be vision. Mm-hmm. I think people think they can, but they don't have it in you. So you read a book. You met the man, and he looked at you, and he said, "This is for you."
Yeah. I told him why I felt I was a visionary, and the things that I went through as a kid, and I would always see things in the future how it was. And I mean, not only did I meet him, our youth group went to his church. He's actually a pastor in the Bahamas.
Okay.
So we spent the week out there with him. And a relationship happened like that. So
just to back up a little bit, can you tell our audience what a visionary is?
So a visionary is somebody who has like a clear mental image of a preferable future. Like you see what the future look like, and then you know what it takes to, get to that point. Mm-hmm. So if you visualize yourself, like I as a young person, I thought it was a super crazy visionary thing was to have a nuclear family. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yo, I want to be married. I want all my kids to come from the same. I mean, as a young person, I didn't see that in my family. Like a lot of people, everybody that had kids, they had kids from different people. Unless they had one child. That was the only way that they...
Wait a minute. I'm that one
that
person.
That was the only way it was, man.
And the only reason why I don't have multiple children is because I never saw myself as a child having multiple fathers for their children. So when I knew I wouldn't have a second one, I stopped. Right.
And so I aspire to get to that point. And me and my wife Tavia, we've been married for going on 24 years now.
Really?
With two beautiful children, Yashua and Selah. I was sharing stuff like that with him, like, yo, I want this. I think I had a girlfriend, you know what I'm saying? But, so that's how it started as a, 17, 18-year-old.
I love that. I do stream every 2 weeks, and 2 weeks ago we had Kids Day. And one of the things we talked about is them being able to visualize what they want for their future. So I'm happy you shared that story because that's really important. And I think when I pick my son up, we're going to have a conversation about that. Like, you need to start seeing it. Yeah. That's how you accomplish things. And kudos to you for 24 years of marriage. Maybe you need to make a movie about that because we ain't getting it. We can't even get past 10 months of a relationship.
Oh my goodness. We do. I do got a movie out called The Love That Hurts. That was our first feature film that we did in 2013, and it was about marriages.
Really?
And loving when it hurts, like not throwing in the towel when things get difficult, and relationships are always a little messy at times. But how do you navigate those waters and work through those difficult situations? And that's what that movie was. Faith-based movie. And it's on YouTube. We got about 4 million views on YouTube right now.
Oh, wow. And I love that. The love that hurts.
A love that hurts.
A love that hurts. Because I may need a little of that. You know, do they win after all? Like, do they get through the hurt and still be together?
You gotta watch it.
Okay.
You gotta watch it.
You don't want to give me the end.
It's definitely a love that hurts, and I wouldn't be wanting to be put in that situation. But you know, you gotta love even when it hurts. You know what I'm saying? Sacrificial love. You know,
that is great advice. So if I'm doing the math on that, that was about 12 years ago. So do we go back? How far back do we go with this journey of yours in filmmaking?
High school. I was in a short film called Hanging High in high school. I was an actor. Mm-hmm. That was the first time I was on a film set.
You looked over at me like I was an actor.
Yeah, I was an actor. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't know anything about acting, but you know, I was like, you know, a class clown, but I also was on the honor roll and basketball captain and stuff. You know, so I was pretty outgoing, and that's the first time I got the taste of what it takes to make a film.
Okay. And are you born and raised in Detroit?
Born and raised. I was actually born at like Memorial Hospital in Detroit. It's like no longer around.
Okay, I'm like, never heard of it. How long ago was that?
That's how old I am. You know what I'm saying? We'll say that for another podcast.
Is your high school still here?
My high school, yeah. I was part of the second graduating class, so it's a newer high school, Communication and Media Arts, CMA.
Okay.
The Pharaohs, the mighty Pharaohs.
Okay, dope. So it was kind of embedded in you, and this was something that you knew that you wanted to do. Just how you get there.
I thought it would be cool, but I started doing video as a hobby around 2002. I would do spoof videos and, you know, comedy things or whatever. Then I started shooting weddings, and people started having me doing their parties, and then I was just the videographer. Okay. And then I really felt that I wanted to make a movie, and I hooked up with two of my friends who, one of them went to Full Sail. He went to school for filmmaking, and I didn't know the craftsmanship that was involved in it, but I just knew I wanted to do it. I was a visionary. Okay. I knew I wanted a movie. I just didn't know how to do it. And they kind of like, you get the right people on the bus, you know what I'm saying? You can go anywhere. So that's how we made it. And I'm
going to take a pause right here, because one of the things I'm always pushing, and I love when people like yourself come on my show and you mention that you worked hard at this and you took the time to learn the craft. This is not for everyone. It looks easy, but when watching your movie, I was impressed by the filming of it. And we're going to get into that, because aesthetically, it's the best I've seen come out of Detroit. Oh, man. And it means I'm nobody. You know what I'm saying? I'm just somebody.
You are somebody.
I'm somebody who just gave you a compliment.
You know what you're talking about. You've seen a lot of movies, so you know what you're talking about. I appreciate it.
And the reason why I said it was some things that happened in the movie. I was like, okay, this was perfect for this moment. It looked perfect for this moment. I remember years ago, I had an uncle, rest in peace. He was an artist. And he used to always pull me to the side when I was watching sitcoms and things and explain to me why there was so much color in the background. Why something that looked so busy in real life looked good on film. You know, no white walls, no you know, and sometimes when we watch different movies that's produced independently, they don't have the extra for the aesthetics to keep a person's mind like going. Mm-hmm. And there was one scene, just beautiful, just her being in the boutique. You know, the colors and the somebody thought that out. And I knew that. Are you the person? You shaking your head? Yeah, like yeah.
No. I didn't. So here's the thing. When I say you got to get the right people on the bus, I knew what I wanted, even though I probably couldn't do it, but I know who can get it there. Okay. So that's when it comes to selecting your crew and knowing that, hey, you know, I got this young lady named Haley who just graduated from school, and she's going into, decorating the sets. Okay. You know, set design.
You guys see that set design is also a job.
Oh, yeah. It's a job.
It sounds like a cool job.
Yeah, it was. And when I talked to her about it, I'm like, look, this is the vision. I want this. And she was like, I love it. And she came back with a PowerPoint presentation with different pastel colors and different things and go, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, all right, cool. So as we began to go to every location, she was there. And she's like, okay, we're going to put these clothes right here. We're going to take these clothes, put them over here because this color. And so she began to kind of like do that. And everybody had a specific role. And that was her role, was to make sure that everything in the background looked good.
Now, I'll tell you, I love that because it stood out.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know it's somebody's job. But in my head, I'm sitting up there like, this got to be somebody's job because they killed it.
Yeah.
One of the things I want the audience to be able to see, I want you guys to see the trailer of Mirror of Deception so you guys can know exactly what we're talking about. Are we ready? Because my engineer is texting.
Wow, put him on blast.
No, and I'm going to get fired.
Put him on blast.
It's okay.
He's a dope engineer, though. He's a dope engineer.
I'm actually blessed today. I am blessed today.
He got good people. He got people on the right people on the bus over here.
I love that saying. You guys, this is Mirror Deception.
I know you're shaking up right now, but by this time next year, we gonna be set for life. I ain't talking hood rich. I mean wealthy.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to propose a toast to the woman of the hour, Keisha. Her passion have transformed real estate in the city.
So you're telling me at your age, you've amassed over $7 million in real estate? Girl, as a young black woman, you're not only breaking barriers, girl, you're demolishing them, okay?
I've been having memory blackouts. I don't remember clients. It's like parts of my days just vanish.
Was there something wrong with the clothes you bought for me?
No, everything was perfect.
Then tell me, dear, why did you come in and buy the same clothes all over again?
You are Keisha Bryant.
I'd like you to look at some old videos of yourself.
You are Keisha Bryant.
This don't make no damn sense.
Babe, there's nothing wrong with you, okay? You are Keisha Bryant.
How could you live with that?
I swear I'm sorry.
There's no end until my victims get justice.
You are Keisha Bryant.
I need to find out why this is happening to me.
You are Keisha Bryant. You are Keisha Bryant.
A mirrorofdeception.com. What do I find on .com?
You will find the Vimeo link for Mirror Deception, so we probably don't want to go to mirrordeception.com.
Okay.
Go to Tubi and type in the Mirror Deception. All you gotta do is type in A_M and it'll show up.
It shows
you know
up.
what I'm saying? You can go to Amazon Prime and type in A_M. You might have to put it in the mirror with Prime, But it's on both of those platforms right now.
Now, I hope the audience, I wish I had a live audience to see if they seen what I saw. That opening scene with them on the boat was anywhere America right there. You know what I'm saying? Detroit. And I've been on boats. Detroit ain't never looked so good. Like,
man, I got some stuff to talk about with that. So go ahead.
Okay,
I'll let you finish. Go ahead.
One of the things, I was like, wow, perfect day, perfect shooting. I mean, the sun was out. It was shining on you guys. I wanted to be on the boat, and I'm not even, well, I do want to know, how did you get the boat? 'Cause, do you have a boat? Is that your boat?
I got friends who got friends.
That's how it goes.
Yeah. So I knew that I had access to the boat a year ago, and it was like I wrote it in the script.
Okay.
I wrote on the boat. We hung out with the people, and my brother-in-law was real good friends with him, and they said, "Hey, you can get it." And I think the day we were supposed to film on the boat, it had rain, so we had to push it out a different day. And then the day we pushed it out to, it was beautiful. But when I show people that particular scene. It was. I mean, I was showing it to another filmmaker from another state, and he was like, "Man, where'd you film this, in Miami?"
Right.
I mean, he was looking at the water. He was like, "It's beautiful," and I'm like, "No, this is Detroit." You know, when people look at Detroit, they don't see how beautiful it is, and I really wanted to capture how beautiful. I mean, everything in this movie was very strategic. And I'm a lifelong Detroiter, born in Detroit. You know, and I wanted to make sure that Detroit looked good because it is a good-looking city. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And I put it right in the middle of the Ambassador Bridge and the Renaissance Center, so everybody can, wherever you look, you'll see a Detroit landmark.
Well, the crazy part was when they were zooming out. It wasn't until they showed the main character, Keisha, and you could see the Ambassador Bridge behind. I was like, okay, he really here. Because people will lead you to believe, you know, and we know this all the time. They'll be in Toronto or they'll be in Georgia somewhere and they say they're someplace else. But I'm like, the water, the buildings, the sun. I'm almost breathless or speechless because I work off the water, so I don't get a chance to see it look that beautiful. You know. But it's a beautiful image to have. Did you use drones to capture? Were you using drones, or how did you guys?
Yeah. So shout out to my homie Jonathan Chatton, who was my drone operator. I've been knowing him since he was, I don't know, 12 or 13, and he was a video game guy. He played video games, and then he transitioned into doing film and everything, and he operate that drone like I mean. He's like, you know, one of the best drone operators that I know. And he didn't want to capture, you know, we told him what to do, and him working with Jeremy Brockman, my director of photography. And it's a certain way you got to shoot it to make sure it's not overexposed and make sure everything looks right. And then we got to make sure we give it to the colorist, and the colorist got to make sure it look the way that it's supposed to look. So yeah, it was
look
drone
at you
footage.
All talking all film and stuff, going right over my head.
No, I'm trying to make it simpler for you. You know?
We love it though.
So we shot in a sea log. You know what I'm saying? And then it was we had to add the saturation to it. No,
I know the saturation, but no, because it flows. The conversation flows well, which is another sign that you know what you're doing. You know, and you just didn't put a product out there just to get people to watch it. You put a product out there that you developed. It was like a baby. You know what I mean? You fathered this. So you are the writer, correct?
The writer, director, producer, executive producer, extra. I'm sorry. Oh, Lord.
You was an extra, huh? We'll talk about that.
Extra. I was one of Keisha's friends.
So you, when you came up with the idea to write it, what were you thinking? Because it's a little twisted. It's a twisted story, sir.
It is. I mean, I wanted to make sure I stayed ahead of the audience. You know, because everybody always watch movies and they're trying to figure stuff out. You know, I know this about to happen. I know this about to happen. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to give them this hint. If they're paying attention, they would think this. And then I'm going to give them another hint, like, you should figure it out by this hint, right? So it's not that I'm trying to keep it from you. I'm trying to reward people for paying attention.
Right.
And then when I finally reveal a particular plot, then they're like, oh, I knew it. I'm like, you knew it because I dropped that there and I dropped that there and you paying attention. Cool. But now we halfway through it and now you're not going to guess what's getting ready to happen after this. You know what I'm saying? So you know, I wanted to make sure that when people watch this movie the first time, they would see one movie, but when they watch it again, they would see another movie. You know what I'm saying? I
like the fact that there was a young lady playing two characters.
Yeah. She's herself.
She's herself.
She's herself.
It was things that you guys made for her to not recognize who she was. You know, that I didn't recognize who she was. That's kind of where I'm more so like the actress herself. Like, where did you find this gifted talent?
Right here in the D.
Like everything else.
Right here in Detroit. You know, everything. I mean, we have like a beautiful filmmaking industry here in Detroit. You know what I'm saying? We have our issues just like anybody. You got a family. You know what I'm saying? You got issues with certain people in your family, but overall, it's your family. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't do a casting call for this. I always say I called and cast.
Okay.
You know, I picked up the phone, was like, look, you know, I think you would be great for this particular role. And I seen her, Michaela Lenani, MK, she was in Kamal Smith's movie, Parental Discretion Advised. And when I seen that movie and I seen the way that she was acting in there, I was like, oh, she's pretty dope, you know. And I got in contact with her, and we had to really work at making sure that we nail this particular character.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because she evolved and she becomes somebody, and like, so I didn't just want her to be a certain way like she was in her other movies.
Right.
Like, I wanted to bring something unique to this character.
Right.
You know.
So one of the things that I loved how you had everything. I had the opportunity to be on set for a while, and even when people were lost that was working with you, they were able to come to you and you were able to pinpoint exactly who was doing what, when they was doing what they should look like. Yeah. And they was like, okay, we got it. And I'm like, he got all this in his head.
A lot of them didn't get it. So, I mean, look, this was crazy about it. Like, so people were lost when they were, because people be like, you know, I get a lot of reviews and they were like, I was lost in the beginning, but I figured it out. And I'm like, oh, wow, this was cool. People were on set who read the script. They were lost while we were shooting. And I'm like, you know, so that's the burden of being a visionary. Like, you see clearly the big picture, and people are looking in their own compartments and they only see their particular role, but they're not seeing the big picture. And some people come in, well, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. And I'm like, you can't see down the line, so you don't even understand why we're doing this. So just go ahead and just trust me.
Trust you.
Trust me. Believe me. I know what we're gonna do. You know. And they did. And that particular day, that was one of the scene where we had the interrogation and everything. They really was lost doing that. I'm like, hey, don't touch the camera, everybody out. We're not going to do this, you know. And they were like, what's getting ready to happen? And then when they saw it on screen, they was like, whoa, you know. So
and I want to say, and I want to give props to you, because like I say, I've been on numerous sets. You had to have been one of the nicest directors and strangers I've ever met.
Oh, thank you.
You know, and I was like, you know, you're always a little intimidated, especially when you're coming in as a background actor. And you don't know if you're doing it right, you know, because you don't get the script. You don't know what the hell's going on. You're just doing what you're told. And I was like, this is a really kind, fair-skinned man.
Wow.
This light-skinned guy is cool. Like my mom would be like, he ain't light-skinned, dumb. But I do appreciate that, because it's probably a reflection of your work as well. But people want to work with you and for you, and I could see it. Everybody was kind. I got a chance to spend some time with she. I had heard a lot about her. You know what I mean? And she was just a phenomenal person back in wardrobe. You know, your stunt person. She was just the sweetest person ever. You know what I mean? And I'm like, you know, you're about to go out and do some stunts. Like, you don't even look like a stunt. You know
you're talking about the double.
The double, right?
Yeah.
She was just so cool, and MK came in, and just such a kind personality. And you think that people would be a certain way, you know, because they're the lead or whatever, and it just wasn't that way in your production on the day I was there, you know.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much how it was for the entire shoot. I mean, my job as a director is to make sure that I create an environment where people can do their best possible work. And people don't work well in a chaotic environment.
They do not.
They don't work well in a stressful environment. They don't work well. So if I'm stressed out, if I'm chaotic, if I don't know what the heck going on, people are just going to follow my lead.
Absolutely.
But if I'm chill and I'm like, yo, you know, so the thing is, like, I have a laid back personality, but people understand that I'm about getting stuff done. And you putting forth your best effort. You don't have to be perfect. I told people that on the second day. I'm not looking for perfection, but I'm looking for your best effort that you can possibly give. If you can give me your best effort, then I can live with that.
How many days did it take you to finish filming?
This was it was scheduled as a 12-day shoot, but since it rained, we had to add another day. Okay. So it was a 13-day shoot.
That's good, right?
I mean, it's good. It's good. It added more to the budget, you know. But some people would have shot this movie in half the time because, you know, they want to keep the budget low and they don't want to get all the stuff. I would have sacrificed a lot of the stuff that you're telling me that we did well in that, and I just didn't want to do that for this particular film. I got other films that I don't mind doing that for, but this one, I wanted to make sure it was the way I wanted it to be.
Now, in the trailer, we seen that she's a real estate agent, right? So you had this beautiful, was it Boston Edison?
I had a mixture between Boston Edison and the Indian Village.
Okay, because I'm like, sell it. That sold it for me.
Yeah, it was mainly in the Indian Village. Okay. But so the thing is, like, I seen a movie, a documentary. I forgot the guy's name, but it was called A National Disgrace, and they were talking about Detroit public school systems back, I don't know how many years ago, and they just showed Detroit in its most vulnerable state, all of the negative, blight infested thing, and I'm like, if I ever get an opportunity to show Detroit in its beauty and its glory, I'm going to do it.
Thank you.
And we have some beautiful neighborhoods in Detroit with mansions, and you know what I'm saying, the who's who come and live in these places, and I wanted to show that. So with her being a high-end real estate person, I wanted to show beautiful real estate.
Right, because I'm like, she can't sell my house off of 6 Mile and 75 and be like, I'm talking about $1 million sales. Like, so, I mean, because sometimes it cross over that way. Like, that's the house. I
mean, every house, has its own unique beauty, but I wanted it to be, these grand, big houses and everything. I didn't want to just get Airbnbs and just, we're going to shoot. Actually, these are people that we had relationships with and that we knew, and people, they actually put their I'm gonna say put their necks on the line for us, but they vouched for us.
Right.
And they said, all right, we're getting ready to bring 30 people into your crib. And they're not gonna mess up anything. And I had to meet with some people like, look, and I had to tell them like, we are all professionals. You're not gonna have people coming in and messing up anything.
How does that conversation go? I mean, I know that
some people are pretty excited about it.
Really?
And they, can my kids watch? Can this? And some people are pretty excited about it. But it is one story I had to tell, because it was a fight scene, and they fell on a rug. And makeup got on the rug. And I'm like, okay, well, you just get the makeup off the rug. And little did I know, I mean, this is a beautiful mansion in Detroit. They had a really expensive rug. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't that one that did the alpaca. That's the alpaca. No, this was, and then when I got the bill for the cleaning, and I'm like, whoa. I mean, that was a bill within itself. You know what I'm saying? But, I'm just saying, like, those are things that we have to go through. You know what I'm saying? But I want to make sure that anytime I go to a place, that we leave it better than what we found. Absolutely. So we vacuum, we clean, we wipe down, we make sure we take pictures of what everything was before we get there, and we put everything in back, and we kind of like have an auditing process. And I want people to invite us back.
I love it.
The last thing I need is from the audience. They ain't coming to my house no more. Right. You know what I'm saying?
And they'll put your name out there. The Visionaire.
Yeah.
Like
my name is my name.
Like Mr. TV don't do so well in people's houses. Like, I love the fact that you're building relationships and people are using you. I mean, or you're able to use people, you know what I mean? Because it does open doors for other people who wants to think outside of the box, even though I don't want anyone to give him a call like, hey, who owns that boat? Can I use it for my film?
I did get calls already. I know you did. I did get calls already. Hey, do they rent their boat? I'm like, no, it's not like one of them. You know what I'm saying? So,
you got to have your own friend.
Yeah.
Tell them I have a friend with a smaller boat.
We got a canoe. Rent it out. We got a canoe for you.
Hey, a nice little love scene, little canoe going through the Belle and stuff. A little canoe. Like, you got to speak and row. And we only doing this once. So, but what's next?
What's next is, a lot of people ask me what's next, and right now my main job is promoting A Mirror of Deception.
Will you ever do another screening?
I could do another screening, but it's hard to get people another screening when it's free on Tubi, or on Prime. But You know, like a lot of people think that once you got a movie out, you can go ahead and just move on to the next one. And now, you know, you just forget about it. But that baby needs nurturing and needs more exposure because, you know, it's 92 million active users on Tubi.
Right.
You know, I mean, if I got a couple 100,000 people to watch it, I still got 90 million people that haven't seen it, right? So it's my job to promote it like I'm doing now, you know, in podcasts just to get awareness out. And, you know, that's another job within itself, you know. So I got another 6 months, 8 months to really push this. And I did start writing a little bit of Mirror Deception too.
Oh, really?
You know, and if all goes well and this movie is successful the way it needs to be, where it can pay for the next film, then I wouldn't mind shooting a Mirror Deception 2 next year. Wow. You know, probably around the same time, hopefully with the same crew, you know, and cast and everything. It was a beautiful family.
I am 99% sure, because I don't know all the cast members, but I can't see why a person wouldn't want to come back. You know, like when you see success, and the proof is in the pudding. You know, the proof is right there. It's on Tubi. It's on Prime, guys. You got to really go out and watch this film. And, you know, I'm not big on lying, so I'm serious. Like, seriously, it's dope. And
thank you.
I love watching movies to see my city. You know, some things you wish that they gave you more Detroit. You gave us Detroit. You know, I want to ask about some of the like the boutique that you were in. Was that? I mean, that was here, right?
That was in Southfield.
Okay.
Yeah, that was Red Funk, Scarlett. I can't think of her last name because I knew her back when before she got married, so I don't want to say her maiden name. But Red Funk is 9 Mile and Beach. She had a boutique over there.
All right.
And I really want to make sure we promote. She do all like design, like this. She's a designer where she make the clothes. Okay. So everything in there is handmade. So you're not going to go in there and, I got a dress from there. It looks exactly the same. Like, no, it's not. You know, because, you know, it was original. So the outfit that she had when she was doing the photo shoot and all that stuff, that was all handmade by her.
I love that.
You know, and she's like one of the, you know, Detroit's elite fashion designers that's out here. You know what I'm saying? Just look up Red Funk Collection. Red Funk Collections, y'all. I'm definitely going to look that up. And then you guys were in a coffee house or a restaurant or something. That was in Detroit. Okay, and where was that? That was on Grand River. You know, I'm from Grand River in Schoolcraft. I don't know that. So I'm from Grand River in Schoolcraft, and I wanted to make sure that Grand River had its shine. And Rosa, you know, shout out to Charity Dean. And you know, they got a beautiful coffee shop called Rosa. Oh wow! And it's right on Grand River, around Evergreen area. So yeah, it was beautiful. The way it looked in there, looked homemade, looked like grandmama's, you know, living room. You know, the one you could never go in. You know, you had to look and say, "Oh, it's nice in there." You know, that's how I looked. That's how I looked and felt in Rosa. Okay, so we had a couple of comments. So I said, what's the movie? Somebody said Mirror Deception. And I'm going to say, boo. Mirror Deception. They say the production was fire. She killed it. She nailed it for sure. And then somebody say, thank you. And, someone said, I'm going to be honest, I'm not a big fan of Tubi movies, but after seeing this trailer, I was impressed, and I'm watching the movie right now. Whoa. And they're saying it's really good. And that's what's up. That's what we need. That's exactly what we need. One more person watch the movie, I'm happy. And I believe, Giovanna, when you watch it, you will be impressed. You know, like I said, Stream is a representation of podcasting, but Lake herself. So I don't want to promote anything that I don't believe in, nothing that I will watch myself. Life be lifing. That's right. So that's right. It was a great use of time. I'll tell you that. You know, because I walked away like I want my 2 hours back. My hour and 15 minutes back. And now Miles gonna make me interview. Like I ain't gonna want to do it. But I reached out to you because I wanted to sit down and have a conversation with you because you seem like such a beautiful mind. So you have do you only do movies, or do you dabble in other things right now? So we have a couple of Emmy Awards for some documentaries that we did. Okay.
Okay.
You know, so we did another documentary called Cody High. And we followed a nonprofit organization as it went to clean up like 100 square blocks around the school and give it a new roof and football field. I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on Cody at Cody High, man. X and 9. It was a while, like 2014 is when we shot it. So right now, the Cody Rouge Alliance, they've been kind of like really, you know, making sure that community is thriving and everything. But we followed a nonprofit organization to help clean it up. And then we also did the same thing in Osborne community.
Okay. Called
Life in Osborne. So that was another documentary that we did. And then I did a documentary with Ron Oski called Die Willie Die. It's about black mental health and how we can fight off the, you know, I don't know if you're familiar with the Willie Lynch letter, but that ideology we've been kind of like fighting against for a while.
And it's called Fight Willie Fight?
It's called Die Willie Die.
Die Willie Die.
That's on Tubi as well. So, you know, Ron was with me when I was putting together my filmmaking class, and he helped me with a lot of behind the scenes stuff or whatever. And he also like learned from the stuff that I was teaching, and you know, he's doing phenomenal films and stuff now. So, but yeah, so I do documentaries, and then my latest documentary is a documentary on a jazz legend by the name of Marcus Belgrave, who was the mentor for so many different musical acts or musicians that are out here right now. And hopefully by the summer, we'll be able to submit that to some film festivals. We want to premiere that in a major film festival.
Wow.
Festival.
And is that a hard task as far as getting your work out there and putting them in these festivals and things like that? Or I see people and they have their little star banners and they're like nominated for this, but I know that takes work to be recognized, correct?
It does. I mean, if you have the time and you have the budget where you can, you know, put your film in a 9-10 month long ride without generating any kind of funds. But some people get deals from showing their films at film festival. When they might walk out of the showing and walk into the lobby and somebody like, you know, hey, here's a check. I want it. You know, so some people, they really, you know, it benefits them in that way. And it also gets exposure because the more film festivals you're in, more people look at you. So when it finally do come out, you got a built-in audience.
Right.
You know, so yeah, if you can afford to do it, like with A Mirror Deception, I had investors. I put my own money in. I was like, yo, we about to put this boy on Tubi and, you know, wait a few months and get our money and see if we can, you know, invest in another movie. But my next film, you know, I may end up, you know, showing it at a couple film festivals.
Well, I really, really hope you get the success that you're looking for. I can visualize major success. Like I said, it would be something that I would personally push because I just enjoyed the movie. You know, like I said, one more person. We just got one more fan.
That's what's up.
And I'm sure that there's many, many more to come. Where can we follow you? How do we get to know you better? Sorry, Miss Jones, Mrs. Jones. We don't need to get to know him like that. He cute and all, but not really. But
all good.
How do we get to know what you have going on and where we can find you next?
I'm always posting stuff on Facebook and Instagram and
right,
TikTok.
you're a dancer, right?
Just because you dance, I don't know if they call you a dancer. You know, like I play tennis, but I don't know if I'm a tennis player. You know what I'm saying? I play basketball. I don't know if I'm a basketball player.
But you was the captain.
I was. I played.
Before we go back, because guys, I do want you to follow him on TikTok, and I want you to see some of these videos. I see one. I think it was you getting better at dancing. Like it was really, really bad in the beginning, and then it got better. Or was it? It wasn't supposed to be a progressive.
Just the TikTok dance that my daughter was trying to get me to do.
Yeah, y'all went from like, come on, Dad, 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And then by the time you was at like.
Yeah, I'll be trying, man. We got a couple more.
Okay. We
got a couple more, man. So yeah, you can watch it on TikTok. Timashion TV is on, you know, all those different platforms.
Timashion TV. We're gonna put his name up somewhere because people are gonna be like, okay. You want to spell that for the audience?
Timashion TV.
We're gonna follow him on TikTok. TikTok, is it the same on Instagram and Facebook?
Yeah, it's Timashion the Visionaire Jones on Facebook, you know. I can put my whole name on there. It's like, for the older people on Facebook, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm your Facebook friend. I'm an older person.
Yeah, we all old. There's nothing wrong with that. We just a little, got some experience and some wise.
Well, I thank you so much. I gladly will have you back in the future over and over again for whatever production that you have, because for one, it was a joy just talking to you, but you do good work. I can't say that enough. So I want to share that with the world as well.
Thank you.
Do you have anything to say to the people?
I just wanted to say that, as an independent filmmaker, it is very difficult to get eyeballs on these movies. And the more you share, the more you talk about it, the more you say that it's good, the more people see it. And we appreciate that. And I'm just looking on here, Nicole Davis, who did a review on the movie. And that thing just almost went viral on Facebook because people was saying how good it was and everything. But more people saw the movie because she took the time, gave it a rating, showed it on her TV screen, and said, phenomenal this, phenomenal that, great movie, and people started watching it. And I'm like, we need people like Nicole, like yourself, Lake, just like people that recognize when they actually see a good movie and to say, hey, put it out there. Because we don't have those marketing dollars to get billboards and,
absolutely,
pay for a whole bunch of commercials and everything. So I appreciate everybody that's showing love to A Mirror Deception. Continue to do so, and I'll continue to do good work.
Hey guys, this is it for Stream. I need you to go right now on Tubi or Prime Video and watch Mirror of Deception. I am your girl, Lake B, and I will be back here in 2 weeks. I'll see you then. Deuces, love bugs.
Peace.
I know you're shaking up right now, but by this time next year, we gonna be set for life. I ain't talking hood rich. I mean wealthy.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to propose a toast to the woman of the hour, Keisha. Her passion has transformed real estate in the city.
So you're telling me at your age, you've amassed over $7 million in real estate? Girl, as a young black woman, you're not only breaking barriers, girl, you're demolishing them, okay?
I've been having memory blackouts. I don't remember clients. It's like parts of my days just vanish.
Was there something wrong with the clothes you bought for me?
No, everything was perfect.
Then tell me, dear, why did you come in and buy the same clothes all over again?
You are Keisha Bryant.
I'd like you to look at some old videos of yourself.
You are Keisha Bryant.
This don't make no damn sense.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with you, okay? You are Keisha Bryant.
How could you live with that?
I swear I'm sorry.
There's no end until my victims get justice.
You are Keisha Bryant.
I need to find out why this is happening to me.
You are Keisha Bryant. You are Keisha Bryant.